ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ, ನಾವು ಓದಿಸಿ ನನಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಒಂಚೂರು ಪರ್ಸನಲ್ ಇಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿ ಅದು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ಬೇಕು. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ನಾವು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ತೋರಿಸ್ಬಿಡಿ. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್? ಎಲ್ಲಿ?
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಶೋ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ.
ಎಲ್ಲಿ? ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಶೋ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ
ಸರ್
ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೊತ್ಬೇಕು
ಸರ್? ಇಲ್ಲಿ 3 ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೆಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಅಂತಿದೆ. ಸ್ಟಾಪ್
ನಾವು ಮಾತ್ರ ಕೇಳಿಸ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲ 3 ಬೆಳೀತೆ.
ಕಸರ್ ಇದ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಸರ್.
ಹೆಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ
ಕಸರ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ
ಅಥವಾ ಇದು ಬರೀ ಸಪ್ರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಇಟ್ರೆ ಬರಲ್ವಾ?
ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಸರ್.
ಅದೇಂಗ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ ಈಗ?
ಕಸರ್ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ತಗೊಂಡೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಸರ್. ಹೀಗೆ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು, ಹಿಂಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು. ಹಂಗೇನಾದ್ರು ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಒಂದು 5 ನಿಮಿಷ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬನ್ನಿ, ಅವಾಗ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಇದಾಯ್ತಾ? ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆಯಾ? ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆಯಾ? ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯು ಹಿಯರ್ ಮೀ?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Audible.
sir.
I'm audible. Fine. Yes. Okay, in my previous class, I just came up to discussing agency theory and contract theory. There are a few more. I'll just skip through and then go to the real examples, corporate examples on all the theories that I have now discussed about. And this is again a very important theory. I hope a few of these participants wanted to talk to me before we stopped the previous earlier session. If there are any discussion to be made, I can do it for 5 minutes now. Otherwise, I will just go and complete and then come back to you. Which one do you prefer? At this point in time? ಈಗಲೇನೆ ನನಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇವ್ರದ್ದು ಏನೋ language teachers, so science teachers ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಇದ್ರೆ, I just want to know whether they are in the class or feel like they are out of the class.
Excuse me, sir. I am a science teacher.
Okay.
So as you know that this subject and our subject is completely different. Economics, commerce, and management, all 3. But the thing very appreciative is that the way you talk and your informal introduction, which you had said that you are from different medium, but the way you have carried, sir, and the words and the language, it had made me to stick to the topic. Though I am still in figuring out the terminology and everything, but I can understand what you are explaining, sir, and thank you for that.
Thank you for the feedback. See, just wanted to know any adjustment that I need to make for the next session. That's it. Just wanted to know. Okay, shall I now proceed?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Someone else wanted to talk, yeah? Okay. Okay, again, this is another very important theory. Now, this is a theory that I have been teaching since a long time, and it always excites me to teach every time that I teach. I'll just put it as a story now. You go to a second-hand automobile market in search of a second-hand car. And as you know, when you go to buy a second-hand car, the dealer would have different models of different years, different companies, ranging from a hatchback, and then a sedan, or even a small entry-level car. You might be knowing that all companies' cars, all models, all makes, everything will be under one roof. And the quality of the car ranges from excellent to lemon. This is one statement. Because only seller knows the quality of the car. Each seller knows the quality of their unit, but some will not be truthful about the quality. Sellers of the poor units will attempt to put the unit in a temporarily good condition to mimic the quality of a better unit in order to get a better price. Means there are two cars. One is an excellent car. Which is an excellent car? Which has been managed, run very nicely by the owner. It has been serviced properly at appropriate time. It has been oiled, lubricated properly. Then it has been, run in very good conditions of car, roads, serviced. And everything is fantastic about one car. On the other hand, there is a lemon, which has been driven very roughly, not taken to service at proper intervals, met with certain accidents, and it has got a dubious history. So now both of them under one roof. The buyer, when he sees, he will not be able to make a distinction between a good car, an excellent car, and a lemon car, because lemons have put their car temporarily in good condition, in such a good condition that the buyer gets attracted to the lemon more than an excellent car. This is called as pooling equilibrium. Pooling of good, bad, and ugly under one roof. But the seller of this lemon is not truthful. There is an information asymmetry. Who has that information? The seller has the information. The buyer does not have the information. So therefore, the seller does not give the truthful information because he suffers from moral hazard. So it so happens for the buyer feel that the excellent car and the lemon has got no difference at all. In fact, as I said, lemon looks more attractive, temporarily, fully washed, highly polished, because inside the engine, what has happened, how it has been maintained so far, nobody knows. But to have a look, if you look at the first sight, prima facie, you feel that even lemon looks attractive. So now what happens? The market now fixes the same price for both the lemons as well as an excellent product. Now, who is going to be disturbed by this equilibrium price? We call it as pooling equilibrium price. Both lemons and excellent cars command the same price. Who is disturbed? The seller of the excellent car is disturbed because he knows that he has got a good car in his possession. He knows that the other car is a lemon, but both the cars are commanding the same price only because the seller of the lemon is not truthful about the quality of the car. So when the price becomes the same, the sellers of excellent cars walk out of the market, and in doing so, giving a very, very credible signal about the quality of their cars, that I'm not happy with this price, I'll go out. Now, when this happens, all the sellers of the excellent cars walk out from the market, citing that they're not happy with the way because they have an excellent product in their hands. And that particular point is called as credible signaling. Now, this is a very important word that is derived from this particular theory. This is also called, this has been extended further, saying one Bhattacharya started and has his own theory called as signaling theory. What does this signal mean to anybody? Now, walking out is a signal. What is it? This is what I teach to our students also. I'll tell students, see, you're all from University of Mysore, MBA students. People from all walks of life, all social and economic strata of society coming here pursuing MBA, and most of you get 7.5 CGPA, 7.2 CGPA. Everybody is a first class, pulling equilibrium. But among you, there are lemons, there are excellent ones. How do you distinguish? How do you create a separating equilibrium? You have to traverse a journey from pulling equilibrium to separate. How do you do that? You can do so only you have the sufficient stuff in the employment market. When you go for an interview, when you participate in the tests, there you are going to be tested. There you are going to give credible signals. And I will apply that to teachers also. Everybody is an MCom, everybody is a PhD. For all professionals for that matter, you see, you take doctors, you take lawyers, and take any professional for that matter. Most of them possess the same kind of educational qualification. They are all in a pulling equilibrium. But how to distinguish? Why one doctor is more famous? Why, if I ask you, who is the teacher that you remember the most in the last 15 to 20 years of your educational tenure, you will only remember one or two. Why they have been able to create that separating equilibrium? Because always they've been very passionate about their teaching. They've been able to transform your personalities, and they've been able to make an impact on your life for your lifetime, because a teacher's impact will never fade away, irrespective. I heard, and I was just seeing in one of the social media, one a student for whom a teacher paid the fees of say 45 rupees at some point in time, became a successful entrepreneur, and then he gifted a car to that teacher on the day of his retirement. See, this is the impact that the teachers have on the students. Very, very unlikely that these incidents happen, but that is for that's the see, they always gave credible signal. They have always been, we will look up to them for all the ethical and the moral standards. So this is called as credible signal. Now, by pulling out of the market, these companies or these sellers have given credible signals about the quality of their cars, and it happens till the time lemons remain and the market collapses and the lemons are cut. This is the theory. This is the theory. Good will always prevail over the evil. Lemons will survive only for a short term, but in the long run, it is the excellent ones who are going to, because they're credible. There are certain credible signaling that these people possess. There is some genuinity that they have. There is some reality that they have. There is some humility that they have. These are all the qualities. I'm putting it to teachers. I'm just trying to link teachers into this discussion only because we are the moral torch bearers of the society. We cannot afford to do anything wrong because you're constantly observed by your students. Whatever you think, whatever you speak, and whatever you act, whatever you do should be in perfect synchrony. You can't say something and then do something else. Your work, your teaching should matter. You should speak more than what you speak about yourself. So likewise, the market collapses and lemons remain, because all good ones will leave. And the buyers will come to know that, yes, these are lemons. Products are inferior quality products. They are caught. This is a very, very simple theory. Very, very simple theory. And we'll put it to, say, corporations, in businesses. How do I apply that to? Now in corporations also, you can see market, business is always, let me tell you, you cannot give all information about your company to all the market participants, to all the stakeholders. You cannot, because it is business. Business has got certain strategies, because you're not in a charity show. You're in a cutthroat competitive business landscape. So You cannot divulge all the strategic details of your company, even in a shareholders meeting, because among the shareholders, there could be a competitor as a shareholder. So you cannot, share the details. Then what do you do? How do you tell the market participants the good things about your company without divulging strategic details? There comes credible signals. There comes credible signal. Tata's, for example, during COVID, I remember making a very bold statement saying that this year you don't worry about the margin, don't worry about the product, don't worry about the targets. You be alive, that's enough. Take care of your health. Don't succumb to this COVID-19. And there are so many initiatives that the company takes for the good of the people. There are certain credible signals. I put it up on the, this is very technical. I'm just talking about certain things which are not technical, easily understandable, because these are credible signals. You're not revealing anything, but you're just taking out that one step in order to say that, yes, I am with you. This is the time. Say, there are some companies which say if somebody loses their life because of COVID, their spouse will be given job. Don't worry. Don't worry that your economic condition will become. Don't worry about that. So at distressful times, the way that you extend your helping hand will become a strategy, a kind of a strategy wherein you're compassionate about your. Tatas have got their own ways of giving credible signals. They will not divulge any strategic details about their company. No, they keep on giving credible signals. They will give such credible signals, even the lemon companies will not be able to imitate them. My job is to say that, yes, this is a theory which can be completely implemented across domains, across professional lives, across personal lives. Then Modigliani and Miller, I'll briefly tell you, tells very clearly about capital structure, about debt, using debt, how much loan should a company take. It says debt and equity. What should be the mix of debt and equity? I'll simply put, how much should be owner's money, how much should be outsider's money. It very clearly said, it very clearly said, if at all you are going for a new business, completely unrelated business, as a part of your diversification strategy, as a part of your, building an empire strategy, conglomerate strategy, we call them as, then kindly fund that business through owner's money. Don't take debt, don't take loan to start a business which is not related to you. Means a business on which you don't have any past experience. Very clearly, unrelated businesses should be funded through equity. This is the norm. And traditional trade-off theory says that there is a limit to which you can use debt in the capital structure, around 40%. Beyond that, there is a likely chance that you will fall into a debt trap. Most of the companies which have now I listed are those companies where, because of excessive use of debt in the capital structure, has made them to meet, their Waterloo. They had to suffer. Had a classic example is Vijay Mallya's only, airlines. He took a loan from different public bank conglomerate, a syndicate of public banks. If he had gone for a IPO or an equity issue, many people say he would have survived even today. Why? What happens with equity? With equity, with owner's money, there is no stress on the business. it will give you leeway for the companies to take off. See, when you take up a new company, it takes time for anybody to understand the nuances of a new business, the nitty-gritties of the new business. So therefore, if you fund it through equity, it is easy. You can wait. Nobody is asking you pay dividend. But if you take loan, 6 months down the line, if you don't pay interest, then it becomes a contractual legal obligation for you to pay interest and repay the installment on time. In the moment you pass that, then there is a credit rating agency which say your money will become an NPA, non-performing asset. And all of them, it's a trap. Debt is always a trap. You should know how to judiciously use debt. Do you know during COVID-19 is the period wherein only companies with huge reserves, huge equity base survived. The companies which was based on debt collapsed. And that in that point of time, there was a discussion also. This capital structure discussion does not matter now. COVID has shown us that any business which is highly equity based will only survive. But now 4-5 years down the line, we are back to the same old position because debt acts as a thrust, no doubt. The people who do not have money to start the business will use debt, but it has to be judiciously used along with owner's money, outsiders' money versus owner's money. And even all the banks that we are talking about, they all went for debt. And because of excessive debt in their capital structure, when things go wrong, under distressful times, you will be, you have to close the door. But many businesses did not heed to his advice, the advice of Modigliani and Miller, the advice of traditional trade-off theory, to have some control over debt and to see that the new businesses be funded through equity. All these things were very clearly researched and given by these Nobel laureates, but unfortunately, there were no takers for them. Now coming to, these are the theories, I talked about a few theories, contract theory, dysfunctional behavior, then agency theory, principal agent, then information asymmetry, Lemons, then Modigliani and Miller talks about debt as a percentage in the capital structure or any business. Even for personal also, can we apply that personally? Yes. We should only have debt only to the extent that we can manage, right? We cannot allow debt to overtake us. Debt in our entire scheme of things as human beings, you go for loans, you go for personal, you go for home loans. At the same time, you should have some solid, equity base in order to raise them. Otherwise, debt will completely swallow you. You become insolvent. Even a person will become insolvent. So debt is a very crucial part in anybody's life. Okay, coming to the examples. Take an Infosys. Infosys has a tagline saying that powered by intellect and driven by values. Why I'm taking this as around the globe, you can see where they are present. They are present in many countries. See there, I will take it as an example for credible signaling. What is the percentage of promoters in the shareholding? The percentage is only 12.5, as you can see, 12.5. Means this is one of the credible signal. Means promoters, the people who initiated this company, hold only 12.75%. Most of their shares are in public domain. General public, Aam Aadmi, he will hold the institutional shareholders are there, and rest all are shareholders like you and me, simple shareholders, ordinary shareholders. I am taking this only for this. Even a company like Infosys is not spared from criticisms. I'll tell you that Infosys was doing really well. Those 7 engineers, I mean, led by Narayan Murthy, a very good model for any business anywhere, and everything went well. But during 2013-14, they found that their revenues were coming down. So they thought initially all the MDs and CEOs used to be those promoters, the initial promoters. They thought that let us bring a completely new face into the system. Maybe we are all insiders. Let us get some neutral view. No, let us give it to a rank outsider, the CEO post. Then Vishal Sikka was given, and his compensation was 45.8 million when he was appointed as the CEO in 2014. A complete rank new outsider. Then what happened when Vishal Sikka joined? He was there for 2 years. Within 2 years, the revenues showed up. But the only model of increase in the revenue was through mergers and acquisitions, not through. It was like a horizontal growth, not a vertical growth. See, the original Infosys business model was a vertical growth. They were giving IT solutions. They were into software development and all that. In that, it's called as vertical. You go to that vertical. But they were never into acquiring new businesses, falling businesses and then buying them and then transforming them as profit-making businesses. That was not their cup of tea. They were traditionally into one vertical. But he was a completely outsider. Therefore, he gave a different way of shoring up the revenue through acquisitions, which made the eyes of these original promoters red. But another thing that he made was something that they could not digest. What he did was he increased his salary from 45.8 million to 487.6 million because he was in the board. He was the CEO. So this was completely could not be digested by either Narayan Murthy or his friends. Now, this is how agency theory comes into picture here. When you are given a chance and complete freedom, you try to kind of abuse that freedom and do something which is not being done, because these are the people. I'll let you, is the son of a school teacher hailing from a remote village in near Kolar district, where I also hail from, not necessarily from the same village, but nearby village. There are certain principles that even this is big money for them, because they have built that empire, putting in so much of sweat and effort, and giving it on a platter to a person who within 2 years has increased his salary by nearly 1000%. So therefore they changed him and put him a new one called as Salil Parekh in 2018. This was their second experiment, bringing in a complete outsider as a CEO. But again, once he took over, there was a whistleblower complaint against him that he is instigating employees to inflate profits, he is misrepresenting the deals, and also abusing travel privileges. Whatever the privileges that was given to him, he is using that is for his family, friends, and relatives. So once the whistleblower complaint was lodged, before investigation only, on the same day, the shares of Infosys dipped by 16% in a single day. This is again called as one theory which I did not discuss about, called as market efficiency theory. Market is so efficient, it will react to the negative shocks more aggressively than to the positive news. I don't know, society has become like that. Whenever there is a positive thing about a person, or nobody appreciates. But if there is some small negative issue about him, they will cut him into pieces. This has been unfortunately one of the new trends that I've been watching in the society as such. Generally, nobody appreciates that. Nobody has the sugar lips. Nobody has the sugary tongue. They always have the tongues are very sharp. If you make a small mistake, they will fall upon you. They say, "Oh, he's done if it does really good, no one appreciates." And our stock market is also like that. For a good news, it also reacts, but not so sharply as it reacts to a negative news. Then I'll come to this Enron. As I said, it's a giant of all scandals, I said. It's a company which was established in 1985, 2001. It was the biggest, seventh largest company. In fact, the CEO of this company used to be an advisor on energy to President Bush. So they were very, very, a company which is a Fortune 500 company doing really well in energy. Their core business was energy. So nothing happened in their core energy. But what happened was their investments for getting short-term benefits. And this is being done, say, this is a case study, which is a big case study. I'm just putting it up. So it was called as an accounting scandal. Let me tell you, accounting scandal. We used to teach that in business ethics and values, in economic, in commerce and in management business. They are not ethical because they always inflated their profits. If profits were this much, they said this much. Inflation, manipulation. But here, when we went into the depth of this particular case, we came to know that it was an accounting scandal. To call it an accounting scandal is like looking at the entire issue at the tip of the iceberg. But deeper down, it is an agency theory problem. It's an information asymmetry problem. It is more of an economics problem than an accounting problem. When you look at this multidisciplinary angle only, you'll be able to understand this. What is the problem? The problem is very simple. These top managers, the CEO and his group became greedy. There was so much of good cash flows. Those cash flows were diverted in near payoff investments called as .com shares. .com shares means what? These are the companies which were giving internet services at the time of introduction of internet. I'm talking about the early 20th century, 2001, 2, 3, where the internet was invented, and the companies which are offering those services were the companies which were commanding good prices in the stock market. And these people became greedy. They said, okay, there are profits which are generated, the cash flows which are generated in this energy. Let me divert it to these shares and make small time money, money overnight, and then keep whatever the cash flows which we have siphoned off back into the business. Maybe I don't know what was there in their mind, but unfortunately, when they entered the business, it was already at the peak. They invested so heavily, companies' money invested in shares for personal gains, but there was a sudden collapse of .com shares. Money got eroded, value got eroded. Then what to do? You cannot tell the shareholders or the public that I misused the company money, put that into some shares in order to make short-term gains. You cannot tell that because there is an information asymmetry. Only you know, shareholders, none of the other market participants know. Only the board of directors. It was a Lemon's board, packing the board, Lemon's board. So then what did they show? They show it as an investment. The loss was shown as investment in special purpose vehicles. How long they can do? They were thinking that the shares would go up. They waited. They did not go up. They had to finally say, yes, sorry, we have lost the money. We have become bankrupt. These are the people who are responsible. How many people lost their jobs? How much of shareholders lost their money trusting these people? And similar is the case. I'm just trying to give you the spirit of the case, not the complete letter of the case. Satyam's Enron. Satyam is India's Enron. Same. Fastest growing IT. 40,000 employees. First company of India listed in 3. See, before they get into this kind of trouble, normally the kind of signals that they give, the kind of information that you have, will keep the stock market completely happy. Because the stock market doesn't know that it's wrong information. It will only take the information as it is. It will not verify. Unless and until there is a credible, credible evidence to say that they're not, whatever the information that they're giving is false. Then this is how they did. This is how they did. Cash and bank balance. Just an example. Cash and bank balance 321 crores, but they reported 5,361 crores. Inflated. The balance was inflated by 5,000 crores. Now, who has to verify, cross-check and do all these things? The auditor, the statutory auditor. But if the statutory auditor is also a part of the lemon brigade, they also become hand in glove. What to do? Poor shareholders did not know. See, only promoters knew that something is going on. What exactly they did? They reported the loss. Why did they do that? Because they invested in infrastructure projects near Hyderabad. Ramalinga Raju, the MD of that company, siphoned off, transferred the money from main firm, the focal firm is Satyam, to many infrastructure companies, hoping that it will grow, it will fetch them. But unfortunately, what did they resorted to accounting manipulation. But they knew that something is going wrong in their company. You can just see the promoter shareholding was 25.6%. At the time, they sold everything. When the prices were high, say they knew that some information asymmetry. They had that information. Common shareholder did not have that information. Promoters have that information. Promoters sold their shares when the prices were high because they had that information that something is going wrong in the company. Let me sell off when the shares are high. But the poor shareholder did not know. Only the managers knew the information. Shareholders did not know the information. There was an agency conflict. There was an information asymmetry. But finally, when they say hands up, who are the people who were under loss? Under loss were the common shareholders who did not have any clue whatsoever on what is happening in the company. And Ramalinga Raju's very famous statement, confession statement, when he said hands up, he said it was like riding a tiger. I was riding a tiger without knowing how to come out of it, unless being eaten by it. So like this, there are many, and Tech Mahindra took over today. The shareholders were protected because of government intervention. At that point of time, if there are some shareholders who became panicky and sold the shares, lost huge amount of money. But there are some shareholders who were patient, waiting for things to turn around after the intervention of the government, after Tech Mahindra took over. After some time, it gained momentum and it became, the price of the share sustained. But for one person's greediness or one a group of people's greediness, a common man, hard-earned money gets lost. So this is how I can go on and on, since there is another angle to this called as the legal part of it. Now, what is the emerging legal infrastructure in India? Because I've started with economics. I was with commerce and management now. I would like to land into the law part of it. And the very interesting subject again. Law, literature, and English are a classic combination of subjects where a small punctuation and some small change in the tenses and the verbs will make a huge difference to your understanding of that particular issue. So I want to get into that sooner or later. I'd like to talk about this for a few minutes because it appears a good case. And again, this was touted as a product-related scandal. It has more to do with the management, the production. But unfortunately, when you traced to its origins, it went to again agency and contract theory and all that. How? See, Volkswagen, as you know, is a company which is it is called as a poor man's car in Germany. And 150 years of excellence and trust. And common man's car. That's the reason it is pronounced like Volkswagen. It's a car for the common man, common folks. That's how you pronounce it. You don't pronounce Volkswagen. Common man. But in American market, it was second to Toyota. Toyota was number one in the market in America. Then there was a mandate to the board of directors. Obviously, it will be there by the shareholders saying that you become number one in American market. Do all the strategies and do by hook or crook. And if it was by hook, it was good, but it happened by crook. How? They analyzed what was the unique selling proposition of Toyota. Toyota was giving higher mileage than Volkswagen. Then what did they do? They did not try to change the engine and all those things. They went for a very short-term solution. The short-term solution was insert a cheating device, a cheating software in the engine only to get environmental clearance. Only to get environmental clearance. Shivkumar, please unmute. Sorry, mute. Please mute. Shivkumar. Okay. Then what to do? Say, somehow you have to increase mileage. In order to increase mileage, they inserted a cheating device in the which the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA of US, gave a clearance. No, this is giving good, whatever the emissions are within the regulated norms, within the compliances. Once it clears EPA, environmental protection, then it will be sold to the customer. Before selling it to the customer, they removed that chip and sold it to customer. So what was happening? It was giving good mileage, but it was destroying the environment. Nobody knew that they have inserted a cheating device inside the engine to dupe environmental agencies to get environmental clearance. Once the clearance is sought, once it is on the road, it was giving good mileage, but at the same time it was damaging the environment because of So, all these things will not hold good for a long time. There will be whistleblowers. Because you are in business, people will put complete camera on you. You are under a public microscope. You are under a stakeholder's microscope all the time. Because it's a question of, business is a question of death and, life and death. Life and death. And everything is fair in love and war, people say. So at the war zone, people said, okay, I'll somehow do something and then get away with it. But unfortunately, they couldn't do. They were caught. So therefore, 150 years, just see the market capitalization, the market price of the shares of Volkswagen, 95 billions to 60 billion, 35 billion in a matter of 15 days, 35 billion and a billion, 1 billion is equal to 100 crores. And it is in dollars, not in rupees. You convert 100 crores into one rupee, 100 rupees is equal to $1. See the amount of loss in only Hall of Fame to Hall of Shame. This is what I was telling. Then how many cars were recalled? More than 11 million cars were recalled. Wapas. Then how much fine that they have to pay? Forget about all the financials part of it. What is the trust loss? Loss of erosion. Erosion of trust. 150 years, you have built a big empire of trust. It gets collapsed in 15 days by one act of indiscipline, by one management, one board of directors. So many crores of money lost. So this is not product related, it is related to economic theories. That's the reason I've been telling economics is the mother of all social sciences. You trace the answers in economics only, not in commerce and management. Commerce and management is there at the tip of the iceberg, not deep down the iceberg. Deep down the iceberg, these are the ones. The context, the moral hazard, the lemons intentions of some people, the leadership, lemon leadership. Wherever, leadership is so crucial for anybody. And if a leader suffers from moral hazard, then gone is his institution. Be it a home, be it an institution, be it an organization, be it a state, be it a country, be it a big brother country. Leadership is so crucial. Malya, I will take it only for the sake of capital structure. Malya and Anil Ambani. I will not take many more now for the shortage of time. Malya is a classic case of debt. Capital structure theory said, don't take debt if you go for a new business. What he was doing all these things, and he was doing all these things very, very efficiently. Just see. He was called a man with Midas touch. Very flamboyant. Even today, when I talk about him in an audience like this, there are still have some fans even today for him. I don't know. I have discussed this with my colleagues at the university, and my senior professor says, hey, don't blame him, I say. He was good, he was giving international flight experience in a domestic flight. He was a game changer. He was a true game changer. He said, I am in hospitality business, not in transportation business. I want to give Indian middle class the same experience that an elite class would get in an international flight. I want to give this a common traveler in India. So all the losses that happened in Kingfisher is not because of the dubious intentions of Vijay Mallya, but because the market dynamics were not good at the time that he entered into the market. He entered the market at a time when the ATF fuel is the highest. Actually, he pleaded with the government to have a kind of a channel from Middle East to India, direct channel for him in order to get those ATF fuel, which is required for aircrafts. But the government did not heed to his request. Had this been heeded, then you would have been a very, very successful. You would have controlled the entire market. There was no, wrong intentions in his mind, but the timing of his, entry into airlines was bad. And thereafter, then capital structure theory come. He took loans. What do you do when you take loan? You don't get that cushion. You're into an unrelated business. At least 2-3 years you want there's a gestation period for any business to take off. He thought that the business will take off like the way flights take off. But unfortunately, it was not so. It didn't take off. It took time. By the time it could take off, all debt started accumulating interest on interest. Then legality matters came. Banks tried to tighten the noose around his neck. And then he eloped from India. And then there was a special act passed only for him and Nirav Modi, in order to confiscate his property in his absence, which was not there in the law before. So, when you're doing a business, new business, you've been very good in all the businesses, all that you touched has turned into gold. When such was the case, why did you get into a new business without the cushion of the equity? You could have as well do it, you could have done it, and you could have been successful. This was one thing. And yes, I have anything, but I'm not. I'm stopping at that because I would like to just get on with what is the law that is doing. These people are doing lots of frauds, lots of money being. These people are leaving the countries, eloping. And then what is the government doing? It's public money. Government should come into the picture and do something. Make things, easier for the, protect the interest of the investors. It is their job. So let us just see, and I will talk about this. I'll again skid through this particular section, just to make you understand what is happening as far as law is concerned, and then tell me, is it sufficient? Whether these laws are sufficient, because finally it has to be, someone has to take some action, make something to see that these things do not happen, and make a country free of these kinds of people. Now, it was investigated under IPC 1860. In 2013, fortunately, a separate definition of fraud came under 447 of Companies Act, the revised Companies Act. Then creation of a new office called as Serious Fraud Investigation Office. And in fact, the first company to get into this act was Bush and Steele. Then there were many sections combining 447. It combined 405, 477, all cheating, forgery. All this was amalgamated into one section called as 447 in Companies Act. Then fraud, what is the maximum punishable imprisonment? Not less than 6 months, can go up to 10 years. 10 years imprisonment. Now you should tell me whether this is sufficient for a person who has done a fraud of, say, 30,900 crores. Nirav Modi I'm talking about. Or 8,000, 9,000 crores. All in crores only, 2,000 crores, 5,000 crores. Maximum 10 years. And fine 3 times the fraud amount. 3 times the fraud amount. For example, if the fraud is 10,000 worth, he has to pay 30,000 crores. The question is whether this is sufficient or not. Next, if it is a public company, public interest, I'm just talking about public limited company where public shareholding is there. People have invested their money, not the closely held private companies. I'm talking about diffuse companies. Diffuse companies means shareholders are all over the place, and the shareholders are scattered, and then the shareholders are in public domain. And their hard-earned money is put into as investments in the financial securities of these companies. Then it is three years, not less than 3 years imprisonment if it is a public company. Then condition for grant of bail, tough conditions in order to get the bail, because normally people will make the crime and get the bail, but it is not so here. The twin conditions, and this is the master stroke, I believe. Prevention of Money Laundering Act. It is been included as proceeds of crime. So normally PML Act is been very on and then drugs abuse. These kinds of offenses are called as offense under schedule offense. But now even a corporate fraud proceeding, offense is called as proceeds of crime, and ED has the power to attach and confiscate the property. And all the crimes that has happened is because of two reasons. One is the syndicate, the lemon syndicate that I was talking. The second is auditors also giving wrong report. So therefore, even auditors were coming under this act. Anybody who commits an offense is as good as whatever the imprisonment and the fine that is applicable to promoters is applicable to auditors also. Then forensic audit is another new regulation with effect from 2020, wherein if the SEBI is an authority which is looking after the listing of shares in the stock market and protecting the shareholders' interest. Now this Security Exchange Board of India have a new weapon in their armory called as forensic audit, wherein if there is a small signal about a company, or there is some news or some kind of a leak, or if the SEBI also smells that there is something wrong going on in the company, they can initiate audit immediately. And whatever the forensic auditor, is an auditor who has got not only accounting skills, but also investigative skills, even crime psychology, criminal psychology. It's a new area of study now gaining momentum in India. And that goes to show that higher the number of moral hazards, higher the lemons, higher are the demand for the courses like forensic. And it's unfortunate to see this correlation, but it is true. So now you become a forensic auditor. What is the advantage? The moment a forensic auditor gives a report, that is final, because you don't need to have any evidences. Yeah, all the report is suitable for use in the court of law. And this act was passed in 2018, and again as a special act as a reaction to Nirav Modi and Vijay Mallya. Till then, if people elope the country, go out of the country, their properties in India cannot be confiscated in their absence. But after this law, a special act was passed to confiscate their properties, even if they are not there personally, physically. So our law is like not proactive, but reactive. I'll not get into this because it's a different way of looking at things. But this act I would like to, before I stop, because it's a landmark act. According to me, this is something which is coming as a boon to all these kinds of things. See the starting point, this is where I want you people, irrespective of which discipline you are from. Market is not a very accommodating machine. It won't provide high returns just because you need them. Means you're all market driven. Sometimes you have the best of the intentions in your mind going into a business. You have a startup. Now, our Indian ecosystem, startup ecosystem is very, very vibrant. And some part of the vibrancy is because of this act, I would say. Because whenever you do something innovative, you have to take risks. You have to do something different. Unicorns, startups. Baiju was one example. So when you get into a business mode, entry into a business line of activity, you have very good intentions to do profits. But market is not an accommodating machine. Market may say, now think that it did not take off properly. For a minute you think, all your intentions were genuine. You're passionate about a particular business idea. You did everything right, but unfortunately, market did not appreciate you. Market did not accommodate you. Then what you should do? What you should do? You can come out. You can knock the doors of this tribunal. There are two tribunals, National Company Law Tribunal and the Debt Recovery Tribunal, depending upon the kind of businesses that you are into. And say, no, I don't want to continue with this. I want to come out. Without being skeptical about being branded as insolvent, you can still hold your head high and come out declared insolvent. Means what? You're actually lending dignity to insolvency. Papa ragbitro, tale mariskondu hogbitro, oor bitbitro. There are people who say they left the scene. They've gone off. Because there is a social stigma attached. A person has committed loss, blunder, then he has to pay so much of debt. He cannot show his face in the society. That is a stigma. But this IBC gives you that dignity to come out with your heads high. That is the beauty of this law. Something goes wrong, don't worry. It recognizes insolvency is an outcome of market failure. Don't be worried about the failure. It's an outcome of market forces. And this code gives you two options. One is rescue a viable firm. See, rescue a viable firm means it will take up. You knock the doors and tell that yes, not been able to do. Please help me out. Then the Company Law Tribunal, the IBC court, it will take over and say, okay, let us see, Bush and Steel, taken over by Tata Steel. So there is a reconstruction, restructuring, or no, this is an unviable business. Nothing can be done in order to improve this. Don't worry, don't worry. We will only do the liquidation. We will liquidate, close down, protecting the rights of all. Otherwise, what would happen if this were not to be there? What would happen? These people will not say, never say die attitude. Failure goes to their heads. They will say, no. They will, cook up the accounts, saying that yes, we are doing well. Even though they are not doing well, they will say, I'm doing well. Statutory auditor, you come in picture. And then finally they will say, hands up. by then so much of loss would have happened. Now what does this say? Don't hands up at the last minute. Do the hands up now itself, at the beginning itself, so that the losses are minimized. Most of these companies have taken loans from the banks, and banks have accumulated so much of NPAs. Martha. So much of NPAs. So therefore, if a business goes well, fine, well and good, no issue. Do good. If it doesn't, don't worry. If it is a failure, don't worry. We will rescue you. We will make someone else to take over. Or else we will liquidate. You come out without any black mark. Lending dignity to failures is the job of, and I'm not at all using any technical words. I'm using as simple language as I can. As I said in the very beginning, maybe I'm not. 1 second. Maybe my vocabulary is also kind of restrained, because when you're having an audience across disciplines, I'm a little nervous even after 31 years. Little nervous to start with. That tentativeness is always there. Because in front of learned scholars like you, maybe my experience will help me to navigate this particular part of the academic journey. But at the same time, I would like to now listen to you. I'll stop at this. What is more important for me to see one particular corporate frauds from multiple angles, from economics angle, from commerce angle, from management angle, from law angle. When you do that, when you do this kind of a synthesis of multiple subjects into a research problem, into a teaching session, it will definitely make students to listen to you, because today's Gen Z have a different kind of an attitude. Since information and knowledge is there at their fingertips, unless and until you make classrooms little more vibrant through doing some kind of a, innovative style, then probably your career will not take off in the right direction. This is what I feel. And mostly that the one quality that you should have in abundance is the inquisitiveness as a teacher, and making, transforming the lives of the students that you teach, making them responsible citizens. For that, you yourself has to possess those qualities. And be wary of your people who are there around you. You may say that I've been so hardworking, good, very passionate, but I see the other person, but he is getting all the promotions on time, and I'm not getting. I struggle. I'll tell you, all the good things will never go waste. You will have a very, very successful journey in your academic career. Thank you very much.
Now the session is open for discussion. If you have any queries, please go ahead.
ಆಗ್ದಾಗಲೇ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್
ಇಲ್ಲಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ
ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ನೀವು PPT ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಅವ್ರು ಕಾಣಲಿ ಅಂತ
ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟೆ ಅದನ್ನ ತೆಗ್ದೆ ನಾನು ತೆಗ್ದೆ ನೀವು ಅವ್ರ ಕೈಲಿ ಹೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೆ
ಇರ್ಲಿ
ಇದು
ಆ ಕಡೆ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು
ಸ್ಟಾಪ್
ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಸರ್ ಏನು
ಎಲ್ಲ ಸುಸ್ತಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ